Okay, so here's my problem, right? So the black threads, those looked, good, what I wanted. Out of nowhere, my my lines, they started to look like this. They just looked like ass. There was no spacing between these stitches here, even though I was set at my max length. Everything just looked like shit. The feed dogs, they were moving, right? So it was feeding the material, but what people pointed out was that they were out of sync, right? So I've gone in there and I've tried to adjust this now so you won't see it as drastically right here, but essentially as my needle was plunging down, my feed dogs were all the way up and coming back. So the cycle was, completely opposite of where it should be. And I want to explain and show how I fix this in case anyone else runs into this super annoying problem. What you want to do is start taking the plastic off. There's manuals online you can reference to do that, YouTube videos, super easy. Just a couple screws and then you start prying the plastic bits apart. All right, so you want your top open here because that lets you access the back. It just all comes apart together. But once you have the housing off, so you can flip it on its side here, and then we can access the bottom. So what is going on here? In essence, I'm no expert sewing machine repair person. I just spent hours troubleshooting this and it dawned on me. So this rod here is what drives really all the motion that we're dealing with. It moves the feed dogs and spins the bobbin case metal hook grabber thing. Right, so just like if you are adjusting the timing for the hook in there, you want to take your hex wrench, your little Allen key, and unscrew the 3 screws on this gear here. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3. I screw them all the way out until they're just barely hanging on there with 1 thread. Otherwise, I tend to run into issues freeing the bar from this gear drive here. Okay, so that allows you to essentially freely move the bobbin holder metal thing up in here, right, for your regular timing that you might deal with. But now we want to move the feed dogs. Well, a lot of troubleshooting later, realize that is really in essence controlled by this belt and gear here. Drives along the shaft, moves, where is it? This here, which helps actuate the forward back motion of it. So I was fucking around with this cam system here and nothing was happening. Realized all you have to do is take this belt off, just scooch it off, and then you can spin this gear right here. And what that's going to do, without this belt attached, you can spin this freely. Your needle will now not move because there's nothing attaching the top half of the machine now to the bottom half. Sorry if you can hear my dog whining. Let's see here. So take that belt off, spin this. This allows you to freely move the feed dogs where you want them to be. So just keep spinning it until, all right, so I'm moving the needle in position because by the time the needle plunges into the plate, I want to make sure the feed dogs are on the bottom, kind of at the start of their cycle, right? So they're getting ready to move forward to pick up the cloth and feed it backwards right now towards me. So now by the time the needle comes up, I want to see the feed dog teeth start to pull through. I'll try to focus this quick. Close enough, right? So needle is about exiting the fabric now. The teeth are starting to crest over the edge there. Now it's pulling the fabric back. they're hiding now. We're gonna plunge back into the fabric and restart the cycle. So this should fix my stitch problem there. All right, so once you get all adjusted, you're happy with the position of your feed dogs, you come back down here, put your belt back on. When you take it off, it might come loose up top too. And if that's the case, that just goes on the white gear, the little plastic one up here. There's not much tension on this belt. If you do have trouble slipping it on with your hands, you know, you can take the little hex key you're working with and, you know, give it some leverage there and plop it on. So get that reattached. Don't forget to retighten your 3 Allen screws on here. And while you're down here, after we're messing with the spindle here, let's just make sure it's all aligned, right? So the manual says that we want to make sure that this screw hole here is parallel with the cam here, right? So what that does is, see, focus here. So you can kind of see this this big wrench looking piece move, right? And so if you play around with it, do it in a way you can see, and I can see, where are we here? Where is it? Okay, so I'm gonna, you know, move this little attenuator here, and we can see how that manipulates that. And if we look at what's happening up top, so that handles the front back motion of the feed dogs. So I'm assuming, you know, with my bare minimum knowledge of this inner workings of this machine, is that making sure that this cam system is aligned properly, is that it just syncs up the front back motion as well as what we just did with the up down motion. So again, we just want to make sure that this screw hole is, you know, very generally perpendicular, you know, not perpendicular, parallel, you know, right, straight up that way. Where'd it go? I'm looking through my phone here. There we go. Whoops, sorry about that, guys. Okay, perpendicular. Picture straight line out of there. God damn it, I said it again. Parallel. Straight line coming out of here, straight line coming out of there. I want to make sure they are parallel. So if this is all wonky, you know, if this screw hole is facing down here, you know, take your handy dandy hex key here, unscrew it all the way, and then you're gonna have to keep that in there for a little bit of leverage, right? And then just move it to wherever you need to be in line with that hole. Cool, everything is good to go. Actually, on that note too, so if you're not sure, you can unscrew this screw entirely. And at least on my machine, the Singer 4452, there is a very clearly marked indent on the shaft here where this should line up. So there isn't a whole lot of guesswork involved. And it looks like a factory marked mark rather than just a little indent from, you know, this aluminum screw on this rod. So yeah, hopefully, you know, this solves some issues for you as it did for me. Best of luck.